So, Degen Dalt has, I think, wound up his visit to Borgata in Atlantic City. Came out a little bit of a loser, but not as badly as it might have been if it hadn't been for his successful, but well, it wasn't entirely successful, but his last session. I mean, he didn't lose. That's the main thing. He certainly didn't make back all that he lost. And one thing I want to say is that, I recognise that there are thousands of happily innumerate people out there who couldn't give a toss about the numbers behind these casino house games. And judging from the little speech he made in his last Borgata video, I think that DD might be among them. But I'm not. I analyse real play simply because it is verifiable. If anybody wants to challenge me and say, well, you've monkeyed with the outcomes, or you've done this, or you've done that, and it's all there. It's all on video. It's as I say, verifiable. And if I was stupid enough to be spending all these years cheating at my analysis of these games, specifically or most importantly, blackjack and baccarat, then what can I say? I mean, it beggars belief. It really does, that people actually imagine that that somebody would spend the time that I do on this project and cheat. But there you have it. Anyway, the last session at Borgata for DD netted 4,625 in profit for pattern betting, or the algorithm, algae as I love to call it. 38% of 14,400 in action. And a win was evidently going to happen because the player edge was 11 more wins than losses, which is a player edge of 13.1%. Nice that pattern betting was able to triple that or almost triple it to 38%. And that's what it's about. That's what it's for. That's the whole purpose of the strategy. The other thing for pattern betting this time is an average win in this last session of 320, average loss of 180, and so that's an average win over average loss percentage of 178, which is extremely healthy. It's exactly what you need. And the great contrast comes when you check on how things went for DD. Coming down here, this is just an overall summary of all of the 2,500 bets of his that I've analysed over the last few weeks. He's ahead. I mean, he's ahead quite nicely. 4.5% of his action is his win percentage. The actual value, flat betting against the same outcomes, all 2,503 of them, is plus 2.8%. So clearly a win was indicated, even for a blind chimpanzee. So he would have had a hard time losing overall. Algae's win for the same period of time, 231,000, so nearly twice as much, on action of less than half. So Algae's win percentage is 18.9, exposure a little bit more. If you adjust Algae's or pattern betting's result to match DD's action, then you come out with a win for pattern betting of 426,000, which is grand. Spreads, DD spread from 75 to 10,000, which is 133 to 1. Algae spread from 25 to 19,200 to 768 to 1. And, to all of you who are tempted to say, well, that's just bloody ridiculous, you couldn't possibly do that, of course you couldn't do it at the same table. There's no doubt about that. There are no tables anywhere in the world which have a spread of 768. But the whole point is, as soon as you hit a table limit which prevents you from making the next required bet per the rules, per the strategy, pattern betting, you just move. Go and find somewhere where your bet is permitted. And if it happens again, if you again hit up against a table limit, move on. And if it means that you have to cross the street or go to the other end of town or go to a different city or a different country, so be it. But if you're running this as a business instead of a bloody thrill a minute, which is DD's attitude to gambling, then that's not going to bother you. You're going to make enough money over time to cover all of your expenses, to repay you for the amount of time you put into this, the time and effort, the shoe leather, the travel, the whole ball of wax, But most people do not think of gambling as a business, except, of course, the people who run casinos and all of the people who are involved directly or indirectly in the gambling industry. And that includes all of the politicians who have mistakenly embraced full access to legalized gambling as some sort of benefit to the local and national economy, which it is not. And there is so much data, so much research on that fact that there's just no argument about it. But somehow we've got ourselves internationally, worldwide, into the mindset that gambling is a great asset to the community, however big you want to make the community, global or just local. It's a load of bollocks is what it is. But anyway, never mind. I certainly don't have the power to change the minds of people in power, so I'm just going to keep on doing what I'm doing, trying to get people who are interested in the reality, the numbers, the numeracy of gambling to change their approach and to start winning on a regular basis without guarantees. Let me say that very clearly. I am not offering anybody the silver bullet, the holy grail, the whatever else, whatever cliche you might want to apply to this. But I am telling you that if you bet with pattern betting, when you come up against outcomes like these 2,500 from Degen Dolt, which I did not cherry pick, I just went for the stuff that he put out. You will succeed where people like DD fail, and he's doing well, relatively speaking. He's just a little bit above the AV. Whereas pattern betting is at what, 19? That's 19.3%. So 6 times the AV is where pattern betting is at, and DD hasn't even managed twice. So by the time, if I continue analysing DD's play, then at some point his wheels are going to come off. And I'll explain why in a moment. Going all the way down to the bottom again, this is his last go, and he won 3,600 on just the first base bet. So normally what I do is I'm only interested, and I only make algae or pattern betting, the algorithm, play the left hand or first base hands, bets, because the others are, to me, just stupid. I mean, it's a waste of time. It's just not worth it. This time, in fact, DD won 3,600 on the first base bets and 1,900 on his multis. His total action was absolutely enormous. His total action was like, algaes was 14,000, and DD's was 67,800 for the first base bets, and another 68,300 for the extras, for the multis. So you're looking at, what the hell is that? That's like 135,000 plus. Now, the thing that's most important, I think, about the situation with DD is that in this last session, his average win was 873. His average loss was 869, which is exactly what you expect from somebody who's betting randomly, non-strategically, non-tactically, emotionally, randomly, recklessly, stupidly, basically. Those are the words that I would apply to the way that DD plays. But he's entitled to do whatever he wants with his money. I mean, there's no doubt about that. It's nothing to do with me. But I am allowed to look at what he's doing and say, hey, you know, people out there, don't copy this guy. Just as I always say, don't copy Vegas Matt. I mean, Vegas Matt is a bloody lunatic, but he's a clever lunatic because he's just doing what the casinos need him to do, so that what he's doing is as appealing to them as it is to him. He's making, I don't know, 5 to 7 million a year from YouTube and merchandise and sponsorships and so on. And the casinos are getting great publicity, advertising that would not be legal anywhere other than on YouTube. So that's how that is. Now, looking at the whole Borgata sample data set, DD's average win value was 828. His average loss value was 824. That's 101%. That's no use. That's just pointless. Algae's for all of the Borgata bets was plus 438. So that's the average win value. Average loss value 246. So that the average win over average loss percentage is 178. Now, these are real numbers, people. This is not made up shit. You know, this is reality. And if you want to ignore reality and play for thrills and jeopardy and ups and downs and so-called complimentary cocktails, I watched DD tipping the cocktail waitress, and, you know, I mean, he gives her hundreds in every session. And that's great for her. That's fantastic. But it's stupid play, you know, because you gotta manage your money, look after your money, so that when the tough times come, you have enough to get you through the hard times and enable you to come out the other side and enjoy the absolutely expected winning session, which will come at some point. But you've got to be there for it. You've got to have the money behind you, you know. And if you keep bloody frittering it away with silly tips, it might make you feel great. It might make the dealers and the cocktail waitresses feel great, and they deserve to be fairly and decently tipped. There's no doubt about that. In all my years in Nevada, I was a decent tipper, but I wasn't a stupid tipper. You know, I mean, if I had a good run of like, I don't know, sort of $300 or $400 in a 20-minute session on my way to lunch or whatever, at either one of my local casinos or indeed anywhere, then the dealer would get a tip of probably $25. So, you know, we're looking at somewhat less than 10%. 10% is a little on the high side, but they were always happy to see me, you know, sort of come up to the table, always looking for a table where I could play heads up, because that's the best thing to do. But hey, you know, that's a personal choice. But crazy tipping, it's just showing off. It's stupidity, I think, and I also think it's demeaning for the people targeted, because what he's saying, and all these guys do the same thing. I mean, Mr. Handpay, Vegas Matt, not so much. He's more sensible. That's the one thing that he does sensibly, I think, is the way that he tips. It's not flashy. It's not dramatic. It's just reasonable. Anyway, that's a whole other question. So we've got DD with his average win value and his average loss value, precisely as you would expect for a random better. Algae doing way better at 178% in terms of win value over loss value. Here is the actual value for the Borgata sessions. minus 1.1%, a little bit nastier than you would hope to see from skillfully played, basic strategy blackjack. But DD managed to reduce that from minus 1.1% to minus 0.9%, which is not exactly brilliant shit, is it? I mean, it's a slight improvement. But again, because he bets randomly, that's about what you'd expect. He's in line with the actual value. Algae, on the other hand, won a total of 26,000 in the Borgata data set. Total action less than a third of DD's, and win percentage 24.5. So, this is stuff that you can, take it or leave it. All I can do is put it out there and say, hey, just look at this and think about it, and don't just take my word for it about pattern betting. I've put up loads of demos, baccarat and blackjack, and I talk through as much as I can when I remember, which is most of the time. I think I can honestly say 95% of the time I'm explaining the bets and repeating the basic rules. It is a terribly simple strategy, but it is most definitely not simple-minded. And simple-minded is the kind of play that we're witnessing here with DD. And I don't think that he's a simple-minded guy. He's doing his best. He's building a business. He's basically copying what other people in the same field as him do, which is play like prats and throw their money away, knowing that at the end of the day they're going to get all their losses plus a very fat bonus in checks from Google. And I always like to talk about the Moogle cash cow, but anyway, that's my little joke. I have a simple mind in some areas, but certainly not in the area of the numbers behind house games, table games in casinos. Spent a lifetime, well, certainly more than half a lifetime, studying this stuff. I know what I'm talking about, and I am not guaranteeing you anything. I'm not charging anybody anything. I'm just trying to get the word out so that as many people as possible rethink what they're doing currently and stop making as many contributions to the casinos who don't need your money. And the message, as always, is the same. You need a lot of money to make a lot of money. If you don't have a lot of money to back your play, the best thing you can do is don't play. I've talked before about sort of flushing money down the toilet and pretending that the gurgle that the toilet makes is entertainment. I mean, it's certainly no less entertaining than having your ass kicked in a casino. But I guess there are people who differ with me on that. But anyway, enough of me waffling as usual. I think I've covered all the bases. Just going back very quickly to the top of this one. Quite clear. 2.8% is the flat AV. Pattern betting's win is 18.9% against 2.8. That's just how it is. Fewer wins than losses, as it happens. But it's just how it goes with these games. That's it. And the whole engine that makes pattern betting successful is illustrated very nicely here. Yeah, lots and lots of below the zero, under the zero nasties, which in smaller charts I'm able to have these red, these nasty downward pointing. What is it? Stalactite. I can never remember which is a stalactite and which is a stalagmite. One goes up, one goes down. I think the stalagmites are these, and these are stalactites, but I could have that completely wrong, and I really don't give a shit, But I used to be able to do these red, and the bigger the sample, the snottier Excel tends to get. No, you're not doing that. So I really don't mind. But yeah, and this is what the AV looks like currently, which makes it suspicious to me. But I can only do whatever I can only work with whatever DD puts up. And he said one of his comments in this video was that he spends a lot more time gambling off camera than on, and he makes a lot more money off camera than on. And I have my doubts about that. I think that what probably happens is that he's like the rest of them. He's cherry picking. He's putting up things that make him look good, and holding back on the really bad sessions. That's just my guess. I don't mean to insult him. I like the guy. I love what he's doing these days. He's so much better than he was just a few months ago. He's playing a sensible game. If he would only learn pattern betting, well, that would probably lose him his place in the sun in casinos, because they do not like people who teach would not like people who teach their followers, their subscribers, how to beat the house. But if he would, take this on board and at least use pattern betting when he's not filming, if that's how he likes to play, he can go to casinos where he's not known, although he's probably recognized pretty much everywhere now. He's going to have to put that silly disguise of his on, that sort of like mop of a hairdo and his mask and all that sort of stuff. I think, but no, he's entertaining. He's way, way, way better. And then he hooked up with this guy Kyle, who does his editing for him, and he is bloody brilliant because he makes my life so much easier. Anyway, I'm done. Take it or leave it. Believe it or not, all of this is true. None of this is shit. But if you're like DD and you love gambling and you love the risk and you don't really want to win at all, then carry on. Bye-bye.